Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and today I am bringing to you 6 beauty brands that have been dethroned from my favorites. New to my channel, a very special welcome to you. I hope you will consider subscribing before you leave if you like what you see today, of course. This video concept was 100% inspired by Samantha March. She did a similar video recently, which I will of course have linked down in the description box below. But basically this video is about the brands that I once really liked and no longer do for one reason or another, so let's go ahead and get into it. The first brand is L'Oreal, and I gotta tell you, as a teenager, I almost strictly wore L'Oreal makeup from the drugstore. Why? I think it felt like a high-end drugstore brand, if that makes sense. They had the most luxurious packaging. They had a lot of products that spoke to me for one reason or another. I think besides the packaging, their products were just really beautiful in terms of application. They had really beautiful colors that were very suiting to me at the time, and I just loved everything about this brand. I loved their Feather Lash. Does anybody remember the Feather Lash mascara? I was absolutely heartbroken when they took that off the market because I'd used it for like 4 or 5 years. That was the only mascara that I bought, and then I tried a few more, and I don't think I ever found anything that I liked as much from L'Oreal or from any other brand, if I'm being honest, at the time. But the reason I feel like this brand has fallen off for me, number one, there was a time where I was making my very best effort to buy from cruelty-free brands as much as possible. L'Oreal kind of fell off the wagon for me at that point, as well as they just don't put out that many new releases, or if they do, they're not big launches. Like CoverGirl will put out like a whole line of skin milk, whatever, clean fresh type products in one release. L'Oreal hasn't been doing that. I think the most recent products that I was excited about from L'Oreal would be their original voluminous mascara in the shade Burgundy, as well as the Shake and Glow Dew Mist. And the Dew Mist didn't end up working out for me. It just was too dewy, if you will. However, I do think it's a really nice product, and I would recommend it if you don't have combo to oily skin. But and I still like their lip products. Oh, that's the other one. I was most recently excited by the Color Riche Shine lipsticks. I have a couple of those that I love. So maybe it's not 100% dethroned, like Samantha said. Maybe like the crown is off, or the crown is sitting on the floor waiting for L'Oreal to step up their game in terms of new releases. But overall, I just don't use and get excited about the brand as much as I used to. Another brand from back in the day that I really used to love, and not only love, but I was like a die-hard convert to this brand, and that is Bare Minerals. And that's not to say that I don't still like some Bare Minerals products, but like I said, I used to be die-hard for the brand. I believed in the old, you know, swirl tap buff thing. I not only wore their powder foundation, but I had the concealer powder, I had the mineral veil, which I still have in my collection, I had the bronzer, I had a blush, the whole thing. But I started to realize that because I have large pores, because I have skin that gets kind of congested pretty easily and things like that, mineral makeup is not always like a long-term solution for me. It's something that I like and that I use for certain purposes, but it's not something that I wear on a regular basis anymore because I really felt like it, you know, contributed to the poor clogging situation on my face. Like I said, there's still things that I like from the brand. I like their serum concealer. I'm loving the Lashtopia mascara. There's even a product that I would like to try, which is their liquid bronzer that Allie Glines has been talking about lately. That's on my wish list at Ulta. But overall, I just don't get excited by the brand anymore. It's just a brand that doesn't excite me anymore. Like a lot of brands, and you know, I don't fault brands for being consistent. Consistency is key in terms of not discontinuing products all the time and things like that. But they haven't broken their wheel in a long time as far as I'm concerned. I don't love their lip products. Their glosses are okay, but overall the brand just holds no excitement for me anymore, even though I once worshipped at the altar of Bare Minerals. Please, I forgot the disclaimer at the beginning, but please, if any of these brands are still favorite brands for you, I'm excited for you. I think it'd be great to be excited by these brands still. I'm just not, and I think for me, a lot of it is a case of, you know, I've found better things that I like better. I've realized what my preferences are in terms of different types of products. So again, if these are your favorite brands, I'm really excited about that for you. Let me know down below what your favorite products are if some of these are your favorite brand. The next brand is one that I think would be on a lot of people's list, and that is Morphe. And it wasn't even ever that I bought a lot from the brand. I have a couple of eyeshadow palettes. I decluttered one recently, so I'm down to one, which is the Jaclyn Hill palette, which I still stand behind. At least the one that I got is a really nice palette. But I think why the brand originally excited me so much was because I was new to YouTube. And not only does everybody and their grandma's cousin's dog have a Morphe code, or at least they did at the time that I came around to having my own channel and watching YouTube religiously. At that time, I had a very small, like not even a minimal makeup collection, like an incomplete collection. I didn't even have a thing in every category. Not that you have to, but Morphe, I was like, well, if some is good, more is better. And if I can get a whole palette with a ton of shades for 20 bucks or whatever the prices are these days, then I'm all for that. And that was why I bought the Jaclyn Hill palette, and that's why after that I purchased the 35F, which is Fall into Frost, and that was still a beautiful palette. I think they're both good formulas, the two that I've tried, but I just am not in the more is better place anymore. In fact, I quickly grew out of that because I realized more isn't better unless it's actually better. And as soon as I started buying things like Too Faced and ABH and different brands like that, where I do stand behind the formula 100%, it's not better. And I think Morphe's a little bit like ColourPop for me in that I think they have so many new releases that everything starts looking a little bit the same. Now, I still think ColourPop keeps it pretty fresh. I do get excited by ColourPop, which is why they are not on this list, but when it comes to Morphe, I feel like they're just recycling shades at this point, and I'm not into that. I have those shades, and I probably have them in a formula that I like better, and that is why Morphe has been dethroned. Speaking of Too Faced, they're next on the list, and this is for a couple of reasons. First of all, over the years that I've tried Too Faced, I've realized that I feel like their formula is very inconsistent, and that's a deal breaker for me. Like, that's the one of the number one top things. If a brand is inconsistent in their quality, I'm usually not interested or don't stay interested for very long. The second point being that when I first joined YouTube and started wearing a lot of makeup and collecting makeup and things like that, the packaging and stuff like that, their whole brand aesthetic, right, was really attractive to me because I had never seen anything like it before. All I had ever had before was like a little drugstore quad with black and clear packaging, right? And then I get this cute sweet peach palette with this tin, and it's scented, and it's just so cute, and there's like a deliberate color story in the palette and so on. And so I really was interested in Too Faced a lot when I first started watching and creating for YouTube. But that stuff's no longer cute to me. I don't really care. I mean, I do care about the packaging, right? I want it to be sturdy. I want it to be functional. If it's luxurious, all the better. But I'm not buying for cute packaging or gimmicky products or things like that anymore. And so Too Faced for me, while I think, you know, they kind of come and go with the cutesy factor, I'm just not really into it. Something I'm more likely to buy for my daughter. I mean, she inherited my Clover palette and she loves it. It's always been her favorite palette. But for me, I'm just not into it. I just am not into it. And then just like the wilted rotten cherry on top is their business practices, and I don't need to go into that. I think a lot of us are aware or could be made aware by way of watching someone else's video about Too Faced, but Too Faced is Too Faced, and I just can't get behind that. I know a lot of businesses have shady business practices, and I think, you know, that is what it is too.
And holy crap, I'm hot.
So I know there's a lot of brands out there that do have shady business practices, and Too Faced is not by far the only one, but we all have to pick and choose our battles. If you feel strongly about another brand, then I think that that's great, and you should feel strongly about that. I personally feel strongly about Too Faced, and I also feel strongly about brands that were cruelty free that are no longer cruelty free. So that's that. Next is Becca Cosmetics, and the thing about Becca Cosmetics is I've tried a lot from the brand over the last couple of years. I've tried primer, I've tried concealer, I've tried powder, I've tried bronzer, I've tried highlights, blush, the whole nine. I've tried lip products from them, and while the brand, you know, really, especially when I first started YouTube, had its heyday, everybody was, you know, nuts over Becca Cosmetics, especially their highlighters and all the different formulas and so on. And for me, like, I've tried all the things, but I never got super excited about anything. The one thing I think I got most excited about was their bronzer in Capri Coast. But ultimately, I have a lot of nice bronzers now, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on that one. Their primers are nice, but I think now drugstore brands are giving them a run for their money. I think you can get beautiful, glowy primers for little money at all. And so, you know, I just don't get excited. I also don't think they have enough and or as exciting of new releases as other brands do. Again, they'll launch this, you know, thing, you know, in a couple different shades or whatever, and that's it, instead of releasing whole lines. And I'm not saying brands need to release entire lines every time they make a release. Over the years, it's been a little bit of a trickle from them, and none of it's exciting enough to really have me feel loyal or excited for the brand anymore. And so that's where I'm sticking to.
Holy moly. It's pretty sad when you have to soak up your sweat with your beauty blender. It's gross, but it's true. I wash them every day, okay?
One that I think a lot of people will probably disagree with me on, and that's totally okay again, but for me, Urban Decay has been dethroned in my mind, in my collection. Number one, it just doesn't excite me as much as it used to. I will say I'm somewhat intrigued about the new Naked Ultraviolet palette. I'll try and put a picture on the screen here. That's probably the most exciting thing that Urban Decay has put out for a while. Or you have things like the Game of Thrones collection, which was pretty damn exciting, but then when you actually see the product, it's a disappointment. And for me, there wasn't any way in highlight heaven that I was going to buy that big obnoxious palette, no matter how much I love Game of Thrones, which I do, or how much I was a fan of Urban Decay, which I was. I have a few palettes of theirs still, and that brings me to my second point, but that is, I've just found better quality eyeshadows out there. I just feel like I've found a lot of brands, specifically where eyeshadow and lipsticks are concerned, where I have tried a lot better and prefer it. That's my opinion, you know? I think that's it with Urban Decay. I've just found better, and it's like Morphe and other brands. I have just found things that I like better, and not even from higher end brands or luxury brands. I think the e.l.f. eyeshadow palette is better quality than some of the most recent Urban Decay things that I have tried. So I'm just putting that out there. These are my brands that have been dethroned. Remember, these have been dethroned from my collection and my heart, not yours. But let me know down in the comments below, what are some brands that have been dethroned by you? I mean, and why? Is it just because the brand doesn't excite you anymore? Is it because you've found better? Or is it because they just aren't bringing out enough new releases? Tell me down below. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully once I get it all edited down, it'll be a little bit shorter of a video. I don't know. I'm always trying to edit my videos so that they're shorter, and I don't know how you guys feel about that. Would you rather them be as short as I can get them? Or could you just listen to me talk all day? I won't be offended either way. And with all of that said, I hope that you are being kind and staying safe right now. This is the human race, and we all have a right to stay safe and well. And with all of that said, I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days, and I will see you in my next video soon.